introductory performance, so we can talk a little bit about what we're using. Dan, do you want to make a start talking about the machine?
Brilliant. So this is a piece of software which has been under development for probably about 10 years. Panos actually developed this with Tom. We were trying to work it out. It was around 10 years ago. Built as a kind of max patch and kind of quite complex, and only really Panos could use it effectively. And basically it involves loading up a combination of 8 sounds and then dividing those 8 sounds into kind of 10 lanes. And the original interface had a number of different kind of hardware systems connected to it. It's gone through an iteration with iPads, MIDI keyboards, and the like. And it used to be a kind of ever-expanding setup, drum kit, drum pads as well, which Panos used to take to gigs. I'm just going to jump through these and come back to these. Basically looked at this kind of interface and thought about how we could potentially streamline this into something which was far more accessible, okay, with some funky colours as well, and which looked less like a matte patch and more that something that somebody could interact with, okay. So we've basically got this XY pad. Instead of having a long kind of linear representation of a sound file, it slices it up. In fact, I've got somewhere along here a kind of nice snazzy kind of slide presentation of how it does this. It took me ages to do this. So there's your kind of linear sound, and then it goes whoosh, like that into an XY pad, and it allows you to basically navigate through that kind of long sound file in the vertical and horizontal plane. Okay, and the system plays back basically 8 sounds, and you can call those up either through the interaction with the mouse or also through the kind of QWERTY keyboard. So again, another idea we had within this is to actually strip away all the complex equipment which is needed, so people can use this software just with a simple QWERTY keyboard and a mouse with no additional need for any hardware. But it still is compatible. You can hook up your MIDI keyboard to it, or your drum pads, or whatever else you may have to kind of interact with the software. There's also some additional processing, things like effects. So we've got reverbs in there. We've got the ability to manipulate the sound through standard kind of sound design ways, so controlling the pitch, the volume, filtering the sound, and also affecting it with distortion as well. So that's kind of a little bit about what the software can do, and I'm going to hand over to Panos now to talk about how it's been used.
Yeah, so just looking for the microphone. So there are other features which include randomization. So in the last part of the performance, I did use the randomize function where you can localize randomization or you can globalize it, so you can be very, very focused as to how iterative the sound you want it to be. And that is very easy and quick to access. Like Dan said, this was quite a bespoke system that was only myself and a couple of other people who would be introduced to it could use, and the idea was that it is accessible and usable, even designed to work with school computers, which are not the latest technology. And they do. So we have been using these in workshops at schools. We've run workshops in September. We also invited students in performances, so students who've never done any sort of musical performance or even sort of electronic music improvisation, were on the stage, where actually some of them brought their own recorded materials to improvise with. So they, in a whole day, did a workshop, were introduced what the ideas of improvisation, or sonic improvisation, or sound design, had to play in a performance, and then were told to stand up and perform, which was very, very interesting. We've got some good feedback from these schools who still want the app and want to use it. The idea is, though, that this device, which comes from a music performance improvisation and composition perspective, develops further for musicians and composers. So the idea is that we take this and we offer it to ensembles, so they can all design their own sounds, and there could be a tool for composition, or there can be a tool for creating instructional improvisational setups. There's many other ways of looking at this. A personal way of me looking at this, and I'm only going to mention it here in the next 10 seconds, is to take how this works and actually make a musician work like this. So my challenge was at some point to actually create a specific kind of instructional notation to make a performer think like a sampler, like a non-linear sampler. And then there's a third iteration of this, which only now exists in Macs, but we want to develop it, which is to work with visual artists. So we have worked with photographers and filmmakers, and the idea is that, and it's not the idea, actually, it can do this. Not this actual app itself, but the Macs version of it. It can do the same that it does with audio, but also with video, and at the same time as triggering audio. I can say that I have once done a public performance of this, which is live improvising with audio and video and playing the viola, and it was a very disorientating experience. So it's a very learning, very much a learning curve right now, but we're speaking with cross-disciplinary artists and especially visual artists who are looking into ways of thinking about non-linear, real-time editing of their own material. Okay, we've got another 5 minutes. Oh, that's fantastic. Is there anything else you wanted to say, Dan?
No, I think so. We can do questions. Sure.
Oh, we can do questions. That's it. Perfect. Thank you.
I just wanted to know what tennis shorts sound like.
What, sorry?
One of your samples was called tennis shorts. I wanted to know what they sound like.
It's actually a sample of Novak Djokovic, and I shall find it down. Number, there it is. It's good, isn't it? Hang on, I've got, where's my envelopes gone? There they are. I'm in short envelope mode.
Oh, that's the shoes, not the shorts.
Yeah. Well, shorts are there, just a bit quiet. But if you pitch it down, you get these real interesting kind of well-like sounds as well.
Any other questions?
I'm just taking from this the idea that is that it's a very fast access machine to how sound behaves. So through improvising, the idea is that also it's possible to probe sound. So it's kind of analyze it very, very quickly and actually use it very quickly rather than just put it in an editor and just look at it and look at the waveform and that's it.
Great. I'll take one more and then.
Yeah, it's really exciting. I love found music, and I record a lot of found music. But one of the things that frustrates me sometimes is that you often get stuck with loops, and I hate loops, and this kind of frees you from that, which is brilliant. I was just wondering, from as a computer scientist, I'm just thinking you could actually very easily, I think, plug this into some kind of dynamic sound program as well, so that, for example, if you were in a game, it could trigger some of these things as you were moving around that virtual space. That might be quite cool to play around with as well.
Yes, it would be, I think it's possible to do, but there's so many things that we haven't actually put in here, and there's actually a lot of things in the background we haven't used. One of the things that what you mentioned is one of the things that we have discussed is we're actually just working with a time and amplitude representation of sound, but we could have whilst working in 2D, because we really want to stay with the 2D movement with the mouse, actually be able to navigate 3 dimensions with the spectral analysis of a waveform. So you could actually go straight into something and the waveform, yeah, you've got something.
This is a 3D. Is it going to play? Hello? Play. Yeah, so we've got a kind of 3D version of this as well, which I can't demonstrate today, but a whole idea within the kind of mocap suite is to be able to kind of punching through and grabbing hold of sounds, so you can kind of see the 8 kind of planes there within the sound. So yeah, when I get a moment, we should keep it. Yeah. Great. Mm-hmm.
Yes, I mean we're in the process of preparing a bid to fund essentially quite a wide range of school-based workshops, community and school-based, and also work in the process of working with ensembles and musicians. The idea is that because this is basically sound agnostic, it doesn't provide sound, it's basically a vessel for improvising, is to, what do you like to do, take your instrument, explore your sounds. In a way, the enabling aspect is not just about working with people who never have access to this kind of thing, like school kids, or visual artists who have never worked with sound like this. But actually, it's something that might resonate with someone in the room, and that is that the experience of seeing even highly skilled professional performers feeling terrorized by the idea of actually improvising. And I have friends who have this experience, and I realize that actually there's a shift they need to make. And that shift could potentially be facilitated by them actually moving away from their instrument temporarily to explore how their instrument sounds in a different domain. And if they explore that and find that there are things that they can do, they might be able to transfer not that what they do, but the kind of like less stressed approach to improvising to their own instrument. I guess it's a polite way of saying there's nothing wrong, you can't do anything wrong here, so you can't do anything wrong on your instrument in a different way.
Great. Thank you so much, Panos and Dan. That was brilliant. Thank you.